related to security of lives and property in Nigeria. For years now, there have been growing calls for the creation of state police in Nigeria, and people are actually calling on the members of the National Assembly to actually amend the constitution to allow for the creation of state police. Of course, that's due to the level of insecurity that we have in the problem. But in certain quarters, people are very apprehensive that the political class might take the wrong advantage of this state police. This morning on the program, we have Mr. Bola Bolawole, journalist and public affairs analyst, with us on the program. And of course, together we'll be looking at the growing need for the creation of state police. It's a pleasure to have you this morning.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think the ideal way for us to start this morning is for you to tell us what you think is wrong with the security architecture of Nigeria as presently constituted before we now dive into the need for the creation of state police.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nigeria is a federation. It is not a communist or socialist state. It is not an oligarchy. It is not an autocracy. We are not even in a military regime. We operate a democracy, and that democracy is a federal system of government. In a federal system of government, properly so-called, you have different levels of powers, of responsibilities, of functions. And you have the central government, which here we call the federal government. Then you have the states, and then you have the local governments. So each of these different levels of government have their roles to perform, clearly cut out for them. And they have duties and responsibilities. And these duties and responsibilities are fashioned in such a way as to mean that you are allotted the functions that you are in the best position to perform. There are functions that can be performed only by the federal government, like when you're talking about defense, the territorial integrity of the country, defending it, you give it to the federal government. Foreign policy, you give it to the federal government. Issues of customs and excise, you give it to the federal government. But when you come to some other issues like chieftaincy affairs, like you give it to the states. And when you also come to some other issues at the grassroots, you say that the local governments are the nearest to the grassroots, and you give them those functions. So, and there are some functions that are shared by all these three arms of government. Yes, that feel that, okay, all the three of them need to play a part. One of such functions is defense. You believe that defense should be a function for all the three tiers of government: local government, states, and the federal government. And just like they say here that all politics is local, security matters are also local. Security matters must be taken from the local government level up to the federal level. When you talk about another country invading Nigeria, for example, or Nigeria fighting a war against another country, you don't expect local government to be the one that will go and handle that. It will be the federal government. But in an issue where there are problems of security within a state, within a local government area, people are saying that such issues are better handled by the states, because the states know the locality more than the federal government. You don't expect a government in Abuja to be the one that will know what is happening in the remotest villages in this country, and for them to be able to handle security there. So there is the reason, therefore, that all these three tiers of government there should be a synergy between the three of them in handling an issue just like security, especially now when problems of insecurity have ballooned in such a way that it is obvious to everyone that it is beyond the problem is beyond the capacity and capability of the federal government to handle. So people are saying that why not allow the states
to create
for now, yes, to also play a part in it. People are not saying that the federal government should hands off. No. What they are saying is that where the federal police will still be there, The Army will be there, the Air Force will be there, the Navy will be there, all of them, Civil Defense, they will be there. But let the state also play a role. So a role should be carved out for the state, so that the states that are closer to the people in this regard than the federal government should also come and play a part. So it's supposed to be a complementary role, not that the federal government will abdicate its responsibilities as far as defense is concerned and that the states will take over. No, we are asking, people are now asking that let the state also join in helping to provide security, insofar as it has become very apparent to everybody that the federal government alone cannot handle the issue.
Okay, talking about the federal government not being able to handle everything alone, the federal police, like they are called as we speak, they are not properly funded. And some people have raised this question that, okay, if we now create more at the state level, we are conscious of the fact that some states are not economically viable in some parts of the country. How are they going to fund the creation of the state police in terms of gadget, in terms of equipment, and what should we do to ensure that what we are complaining about the federal police in terms of not having weapons to fight crime in the country will not also affect the states that are planning to create their own police?
Yeah, when we say that the Constitution should be amended in such a way as to allow states to create their own police, it does not mean that every state will be compelled to do so. If the law is there, and you as a state, you know that you have the capability, the capacity, you have the funds, and you have the need for it. If you don't have the need for it, well, create it. So I don't think that the fact that they say, oh, now everybody can get, the Constitution allows state police, everybody will now rush to go and create state police. I don't think so. I don't think it should be interpreted that way. I think it should be interpreted in a way to mean that now there is no restriction for any state that says, that thinks that he needs the state police and that has the capacity to create a state police to go ahead and do so. At the moment, even if you have the capacity and you have the need for it, the law does not permit you to do so. Now, once that restriction is lifted, then states that think that they have the need for it and they have the capacity for it will be free to go ahead.
Okay, we all know the attitudes of our politicians in this country, and those are part of the issues people have been raising concerning this creation of state police. What do we do while trying to amend this particular aspect of our constitution to ensure that state governors, the political class, would not use it to oppress their political rivals, so to say?
Yeah, experience is the best teacher. In the First Republic, we had even native authority police, and we had state police or regional police and things like that. We had it in that time. And like you said, like people are saying, these police were used to oppress political opponents. Political opponents were arrested on frivolous, trumped-up charges, 2-3 days to election, and they were kept in limbo until after the election. And the opponents will have been returned unopposed, and they will be released without any charge, without anything. So we had those problems. And there is the fear also that if we bring back state police, such things could happen again. And incidentally, unfortunately, our politicians have not done anything to allay those fears. You see, when they hold local government elections, the party in power wins 100%. They clear the whole seats. And it's like if there is no other political party in that state. So it gives you an idea that they don't have state police now, they are doing that. It gives you an idea that once they have state police, that is what they will use state police to do. They will clear all elections at the local government level. They will do and undo, and now that they have the state police. But we cannot, because of that, say that they should not have state police. Because even the federal police that we have, they are also being compromised. they are also being used by politicians. And they say, incidentally, it is not only the politicians that control the center that use these federal police, even opposition politicians that belong to opposition political parties have also found a way to monetize their operations and to also use this police. Everyone is using these security agencies now. Let's not mention police alone. Security agencies involved in election operations are being compromised by all the political parties, not only the party that is in power. In other words, it means that even if you have state police, the likelihood for opposition parties to also be able to compromise them is there. We should not completely foreclose that. But we must have state police because the issue of security now is more important, more germane than the issue of whether somebody wins election or does not win election. Because it is somebody that is alive that will stand for election, that will win election. But now that the absence of state police is being given as the reason why we have all these killings in the states, and the federal police is unable to do anything about it. So people now believe that if we have state police, there will be more security of life and property in the states. State police will not just wait and just turn away when people's lives and properties are being endangered. As we have now this architecture that we have now, security architecture that we have now is such that you take orders from Abuja, from above. And before these orders come, things will have gone haywire. But if you have state police, the people are closer to the grassroots, the line of authority is closer to the people, and we believe, we are hoping that the process of reaction to problems to be faster. So it's a matter of, we are trying to carry water, and we are also carrying oil. We are trying to see which one is heavier. That is the problem now. Okay, this one is not completely without its abuses. This other one is also not completely without its abuses. But which of the two do we prefer? Which is the lesser evil? Now, is it to continue like this without state police, and life and property will continue to be endangered the way we are going? Or is it to try state police and reduce the incidence of insecurity? And now we know we have to cope with the problem of manipulation and compromise of this state police by the powers that be. Be that as it may, we also have to understand that experience is the best teacher. In every democracy, you learn over time. So all the democracies that we have today that we say, oh, stable democracy, even in the US, didn't you see what happened? It took a while. Even then, now, hundreds of years of practice of democracy, did we not see what happened when Trump lost election? Are we not seeing what is happening with the return of Trump now in that same democracy? So there is no democracy that is perfect. There is no human society that is perfect. Every human society is work in progress. So we also have to understand that our own federalism, our own democracy in Nigeria is work in progress. Let's try and see, when we have the state police, let's look at the rough edges. As we go along, we begin to smoothen out the rough edges. And who knows, maybe if we had left the state police and they had been functioning since 1960s, maybe by now they will have matured and the situation will have been better.
Okay, it's good that you have identified that, okay, there will be rough patches here and there. So if indeed the Constitution now allows for the creation of state police, what format should it take in such a way that it will address the growing need of, the growing problem of insecurity in the country? And what format should it take generally in such a way that it will not be open to abuse, at least to a certain extent?
I think that the National Assembly, when it is passing down the law, will set parameters. But those parameters will also leave room for the different situations in states. There are specific situations to determine how they go about it. For instance, we can look at how they have, in some of the states in the Southwest, for example, how they have fashioned out their Amotekun. Amotekun is a precursor to this state police we're talking about now. The way the various states, they have done it in Ondo State, in Ekiti State, in Oyo State, in Osun State, you see that they have some similarities. They have some elements of synergy, but they also have some elements of dissimilarities which take into consideration their own peculiar situation. It is not that, okay, Oyo has 1,000 men, so Osun must also have 1,000 men. No, it's not that. It's not because our headquarters is there, the headquarters must be there. We have this number of vehicles, they must have that number of vehicles and things like that. So the similarities and dissimilarities in the various states of the Federation and the problems they are going to confront
will be different.
The problems you are confronting here, if it is the problem of confronting herdsmen, it's different. If the problem of you are confronting bandits or terrorists, the dangers that you confront, are they people? Are they petty thieves? Are they kidnappers? Are the terrorists armed with drones and things like that? So that will determine. The dangers that you confront will determine the machinery that you put in place. Do you need drones? Do you need armored cars? Do you need this? Do you need that? And how do you how do you structure your manpower? So I think every state should be allowed enough space to move, to maneuver, to determine what are the needs. The needs will determine the apparatus, the security architecture that they put in place. It cannot be uniform all over the place. And that is the problem you have with the federal police. It is uniform all over the place. It's the same police that you have in Lagos, that you have in River State, that you have in this and that. It's the same structure.
And even some of these police officers, when they are posted to a particular region of the country, some get there and they find it difficult to even communicate with the people that they're supposed to protect.
It's not only that they find it difficult. You see, the culture is different. Some of them, the religion is different. Some of them, the nuances of people, they are different. So they find themselves totally at sea. You see, they find themselves strangers. They get there and they are seen, even the communities, they don't see them as people who have come to protect them. They see them as foreigners that have been, strangers that have been sent to their midst. And they resent them. They resist them. And they do not cooperate with them. And how can you secure a people or a place where you do not have cooperation? One of the problems we have with insecurity in the country today is that in the areas where we have this insecurity, the local people are cooperating with the terrorists. They are cooperating with the bandits. Instead of cooperating with the law enforcement agencies, they are cooperating with the criminals, and they are endangering the lives of the security people. And they are the ones giving information to the bandits, to the terrorists. They are the ones laying ambushment for even the security of people who are there to protect their life and property, because they see them as foreigners, as strangers, because they are not of their own side. Yes, they are from outside. So, but if you are from that area, it will be difficult. You will understand their language. You will understand their culture. And when you send somebody to an area where he does not understand the culture, he can do things that will be a taboo to the people in that area. Without knowing. You see, but if they are your own people, they understand your language, they understand your traditions, they understand your customs, they have the same religion with you. When you are going to mosque, when you are going to church, you go together, you go to the market together, you speak the same language, you eat the same kind of food and things like that. You don't look down on them, they don't look down on you. So there is synergy. There can be no security where the local people themselves are not involved in the security architecture. So in a state police system, it is much likely that we have a situation where the local people will be more involved in the security architecture. It's like when you start a university in a community, we say town and gown must meet. If you have a university that does not interact with the town, community, and the town does not interact with the community, the purpose of the university is defeated. It's the same thing with security. If you have a security architecture where the local people do not interact with the security people that we put there, it is defeated.
Okay, so if this should see the light of the day at the end of these constitutional amendments by the National Assembly now, what impact is it going to have on the level of insecurity that we are facing presently?
We expect that once we have state police, that the problem of insecurity should be drastically reduced. That is the expectation. But we must add a caveat that if the right things are done, if we have enough manpower on ground, if they are well remunerated, and if they are given the tools to work with. And that is where my fear comes in. I do not think that many of the states are in a position to do this. I do not think that many of them are even willing to do this. Let's say the case of Amotekun in the Southwest. Are we saying that if we have state police today, that the number of people under arms that they have, are we saying that that is what they are going to maintain as state police? Are we saying that they have enough manpower as it is? Are we saying that they are remunerating them well as it is? Are we saying that they are equipping them enough as it is? Or are we saying that they are waiting for this law that will empower them before they will now put resources into this area of need, which is very critical? In the state where I come from, and from Ondo State, the level of insecurity there is massive. It's such that even when I want to...
in Benue too.
Yeah, when I want to...
look at what happened recently in Uromi.
Yes.
In those states.
You see, and when I want to travel home, my people, they will say, don't come, don't come, don't come. I can't go to my hometown of Owo because of the crisis in that area. We have a project we wanted to execute there since November last year. We have not been able to execute. Everybody we invite will say, let the security situation go down, let it go down, let it go down. And it's not going down. Every time you are hearing that they are kidnapping people, they are killing people and things like that. So the expectation is that when state police becomes legalized, that the state governments that need it, and they are in the South, particularly in the Southwest, that they will move resources from some sector to this sector, because security now becomes the most important sector, because the basic needs of human beings is life first, life and property first.
Or should we make it regional?
No, it depends. You see, it depends.
Now, when they come together, it will reduce the financial burden on a particular state.
It's difficult to come together now because of the way Nigeria has been balkanized. If it was in a period when we had regions, 3 regions or 4 regions, it would be easier. And that was why development was easier and faster during that period, because we had an economy of scale. But now we have states that can't even pay salaries if they don't go to Abuja to collect allocations. Well, thank God, with the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the states now collect more money. They collect more. Unlike before, when some states will have to collect 2 allocations before they could pay 1 month's salary. So how can such a state now fund state police? Now they have more resources, they should be able to fund the state police. But another problem they are going to have is that all of them, in the Southwest, for example, they don't belong to the same political party. They belong to different parties. Thank God now that they are even able to come together under Oodua. In the past, it was not possible. Lagos was not part of Oodua before, but now they are part of Oodua, and they are now coming together. In the past, it was not possible because they belong to different political parties, but now they are coming together. But even then, you have problems. See what is happening in Osun State, for instance. The problem is a PDP-controlled state, and the problem between the PDP and the APC. Thank God that it was quickly nipped in the bud. Otherwise, it could cause a lot of issues that will make the PDP governors in the Southwest decide not to go along with their APC counterparts.
But in that kind of situation that you cited now in Osun State, were it to be that it was the state police that was in charge, what would have happened?
You see, that is it. If it was state police that was in charge, and then the state police takes orders from the governor,
from the sitting governor,
and then there is a federal police that is being controlled by the former governor, who is
a member of the APC,
who is a minister. You see the problem. You see, but we cannot now say that because of such problems, because we anticipate such problems, that we should not do the needful. So when the problems comes, hopefully we'll be able to address the problems, and we'll be able to talk sense to ourselves and say, look, this is the right thing to do, this is the right thing to do. And maybe there will also be this thing that we call, in international policy, we call it deterrence. You see, APC knows that they have a federal police. The same APC knows that PDP, the same has a state police. So my own state police, we face your own federal police. You carry gun, I carry gun. So you don't want to die, I don't want to die. So we have to, just like what we have between the superpowers. The US is careful that if I do this, Russia has enough nuclear weapons to destroy me. I have enough weapons, nuclear weapons to destroy Russia. So I don't want to be destroyed. So I must not destroy Russia. So, so maybe there will be that the deterrence, sense of deterrence that, okay, they have police, but now it is not there. So the only police that's available now is on the federal side. So whatever the federal side does now, that is the state government is powerless. So maybe there's an advantage that we can even get from that very critical situation. So let us look at how it will pan out. Nobody can say for sure whether it will succeed or whether it will not succeed.
Without trying it.
Yes, we want to try and see. And then, but if we have good intentions, and if we all behave maturely like our leaders behave like statesmen and not like politicians, and then it will be possible for us to sit together and say that, look, what is in our best interest is what we should do. And if the goal of our leaders is to serve the people, then they must put the interests of the people first. Why do we want state police? Because we want to secure life and property. Not
Which
because
is the
we want
responsibility of government.
Yes, not because we want to use state police to rig elections. We want state police because life and property is in jeopardy, and we know that if we have state police, it will help us to secure life and property, and it is only in an atmosphere of peace, of people having the opportunity to move about freely.
Can even govern.
Yes, that we can govern, that people can return to their farms, that they can farm, that they can bring their farm produce, that foodstuff prices can come down, and that there can be better life for everybody. If we know that this is the reason why we want state police, and we stick to it, then whatever problems that come, that we encounter along the way, if we don't lose focus of why it was created, we will be able to surmount them.
Okay, there are certain things that you raised earlier while trying to marshal your points, and for me it is very, very germane, because when you look at the motivational level of our current federal police, it is nothing to write home about. Their salary is nothing to write home about, and other perks of office is nothing to write home about. So in our quest to create state police, what are the basic lessons that we must take away from what the federal police is facing presently?
You see, when we're talking about salaries, who is earning commensurate salary in Nigeria today? Are you earning commensurate salary in your place of work here? I don't know.
But when you look at the kind of job that they do,
everybody is doing important job, my brother. Because, yes. So
that there will be no case of, they are collecting 20 naira again.
My brother,
they are trigger happy.
My brother, if you give them 1 million per month, if they want to collect, they will collect. It's not a function of how much you are paying. Though I am not saying that they are earning enough salaries. Our professors, are they earning enough salaries? 400,000 per month. Is that what a professor should be earning? Are they earning enough salaries? Who is earning enough salaries? Are our teachers earning enough salaries? Are the doctors earning enough salaries? Is everybody not complaining? Can anybody take him home? The minimum wage, 70,000, which many are not paying. Is it enough? So the country is poor. Nigeria is a poor country, masquerading as a rich country. And we believe that we are rich. We are not rich. When we look at our resources vis-a-vis the population that we have, And we compare ourselves to countries like the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and other people that have smaller population and larger resources. You discover that the GDP of the country or the average network of individuals is very, very low. So Nigeria is a poor country. And apart from that, even the resources that we now have, we are not managing the resources well. So corruption is taking a lot of all the resources that ought to have been plowed back to develop the system. So you have a situation where we are not earning enough. We have a growing bloated population that is not productive, that is not contributing anything to the system. And then we also now have this monumental corruption that is allowing our resources to be wasted. So at the end of the day, you now discover that nobody is remunerated well. Even what is the salary of the president? What is the salary of the House of Representatives? If not from all these constituency allowances and then that they give to themselves, what is their salary? So when you're talking to them, they will tell you this is our salary. Is this salary that they are spending? It's not salary. Is this salary that anybody is spending? In Nigeria today, how many people are spending salary? People must look for ways and means to make ends meet. That is the problem. So you discover that there is poverty all over the place. Nobody is being paid commensurate salary. The security forces that we talked about are not being paid commensurate salaries. These are people who put their lives on the line. At the end of the day, the salary they are paid is not enough to meet their basic needs. And government is not providing all those needs. In some other climes, you have a situation where your children will go to school, you have Medicare, you have housing. It is not available for you. Here now you have to dig your own borehole, you have to buy your own generator or make your own inverter. You have to provide virtually everything for yourself. You have to provide a mala or whatever this OPC that will serve as your security. So upon all this meager salary that you are collecting, you also have to fend for all these needs. So you discover that the problem of meager salary is not for the police place alone or for the
for everybody.
It's for everybody. How do we holistically address this problem? We can only do so when we reduce. Nobody can eliminate corruption. But when we drastically reduce the incidence of corruption that is allowing our resources to go down the drains, and when we have government that is responsive to the needs of the people, not only to the needs of the police. The police, yes, government should be responsive to their needs, but not only to the needs of the police.
Are also part of the society and people with the people.
Yes. Lecturers, professors who are earning 400,000. How do you want them to cope? How do you want them to teach their students?
Okay, a very quick one before we wrap up this conversation this morning. How hopeful are you that this 10th National Assembly will be fast enough and, of course, do the needful regarding the aspect of the Constitution for us to have state police?
I hope that they will be fast enough to do the needful, because time is going and the situation is becoming more chaotic. We saw what happened at Edo State. If not for the way that the political leaders have moved to douse the tension, it's enough to set the whole company ablaze. Not that I'm supporting the northern youths that are now crying because something like that happened to their own people. How about all the other people? How about all the incidences of herdsmen killing, raping, destroying farmlands that have been happening all over the south, and nobody is talking about it? So when a single item like this happens in the north, some people will come up and say they want to burn up the whole country. Violence is not the prerequisite of a single person.
So shouldn't this push the National Assembly to do the needful?
Yeah, let the National Assembly move very fast on this, and not only on this, on the other issues before them.
Amendment of the Constitution.
Yes, there are so many things that are before them that they should amend. For instance, what stopped them from taking the motion on Ajaokuta, for instance? Which we understand was the cause of the problem between Natasha and Akpabio. What stops them from taking it? Why can't we do something about Ajaokuta, just like this president is doing something about the refineries? The two critical areas of waste that we have had in this country are the refineries and Ajaokuta. And they are the two critical areas for our national development. So there are areas like that before the National Assembly that they must do something about so that this country can move forward.
And that of the state police.
And that of the state police. So I am commending them that they have tried so far, so good. But they should not now leave it for the, they will do certain things, they will leave it. They say for the next assembly. No, this 10th assembly should do this. It should not be left for the 11th assembly. Those ones will come again and start from the beginning. And time is wasted, money is wasted, and opportunities are going. We ought to have finished our gas pipeline how many decades ago? And now we will have been reaping from from the sale of gas to Europe. Now with the Russian-Ukraine war, but we are still on that pipeline.
Maybe that will be another conversation for another day entirely. We must thank you very much, Mr. Bola Bolawole, journalist and public affairs analyst. Interesting conversation with him on the growing need for the creation of state police in Nigeria, especially now that we are beginning to see some dangerous trend when it comes to insecurity in the country. And, he was able to suggest how we can actually perfect ways of creating state police in such a way that the political class will not abuse state police and, of course, use it to oppress their political opponent. We hope the National Assembly will do the needful so that we can have state police and, of course, address the growing need of insecurity in the problem. We thank you very much for the conversation this morning.
It's my pleasure. Yeah.
All right, we'll take a very quick break. When we come back, Joy will be taking you through our Lagos conversation. Stay with us.
The views expressed on this program do not represent that of the producer, management of Lagos Television, or the Lagos State Government. They remain the perspectives of those expressing them. Thank you for staying with Lagos Television.